was lost.
Okay. I thought I was not audible.
No, you were audible. You were audible.
Okay, great. Good to see you after a long time.
Yes.
Keep
I'm happy to
coming.
be here.
Yes, and a very relevant book we are reading. We're reading a book on leadership.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so great. Welcome all. And we are reading How to Lead When We Are Not in Charge. And we are in the chapter 2. Yesterday we have discussed the 5 P's, which influence and create our identity, and how the identity crises are influencing our day-to-day personality and our destiny in a nutshell. Today we are going to start this subtopic, that is the voice shaping your identity. So I would request one of you take the lead and start reading from here.
Yes, should I, Vikashji? If anybody else wants, may. Otherwise, I will.
Sure, Swaji. No, carry on, no problem. It's open to anyone and everyone. Take it up.
The voice is shaping your identity. The longer I am involved in church ministry, the more aware I am of how much time we spend talking about how music sounds, especially in what some call rock and roll church. It has been one of the great surprises in my work life. Time spent talking about how the music sounds is surpassed only by time spent talking about t-shirt designs. If you have spent any time in student ministry, you know what I mean. For sound, I have found that opinions around an audio mix from Sunday's service can eat up an entire Monday morning meeting. Did you think that mix had too much bass? Why could I not hear the guitars more? It just sounded a little muddy yesterday. The more I have learned about music and the more concerts I have attended, the more I have come to see how important the audio mix is for the experience of the attendee. But there is another audio mix, one most of us never hear, that is even uh, that is even more important than the one we do hear. It is the mix that happens inside the earpiece or monitor for each musician. Typically, each musician has a pair of in ear speakers with a unique mix that has been created just for the musician. During rehearsal, I'll hear them dialing it in. I need more guitar, less vocals. The keys are too hot in my ears. Can I hear more of her and less of the snare? In any environment, whether in the church world or at a concert where the music is working well, a true musician will tell you, yeah, the monitor engineer did such a great job with the mix in our ears today. The musicians know that a great monitor engineer is the secret to a great musical experience for the crowd. The monitor engineer gives each musician what he or she needs to be able to perform and participate with one another. When it
Okay,
comes
great.
to our identity, Gigi.
So Manji, let's give opportunity to others. So may I request someone else to take over from here? Or Jayati?
Yeah, Vikas, I can read the next stanza. Okay. When it comes to our identity, each of us gets to play the role of monitor engineer. We are responsible for the particular mix we are hearing. There are some things we can't change and others that we can. There are many voices speaking into the
mix of our identity. Here,
I'm not able to find it.
I have highlighted it.
Oh, it's in the next, so it's in this page.
Next
Okay, mix
page.
of our identity, and we need to
Yes.
keep our fingers on the dials and faders to
Faders.
create the best mix. More boss, less past, more dad, less spouse, more mentor, less social media. Some people are tempted to reach for the mute button, but that's not always the best option. While there are voices you should mute, most of the time, all that's required is a simple adjustment of the volume to find the right mix. Don't mute the voice of your boss, spouse, mentor, or pastor, but the volume of his or her voice might need to be turned down. Okay. Should I continue?
Yeah,
Or
last paragraph, please.
Okay. I don't claim to know the mix that's right for you. I don't know what you need to turn up and what you need to turn down. But with the help of your community or possibly a professional counselor or coach, you can figure it out. You need to figure it out. One thing I can tell you is that no matter how loud God's voice is right now, you probably need to turn it up higher. The reality of this world is such that most of the voices we hear, even some of the good ones, can cloud the voice we most desperately need to hear, the voice of God. And your identity will be best shaped if you allow your Heavenly Father's voice to be the loudest one in your life. Your identity is the right identity when you let it be defined by what God says about you.
Wow, this is really amazing paragraph. I would say if someone is very pro in this particular aspect, then the conflicts, the internal conflicts also we have around us will automatically gets resolved because we are having the button to create the like to turn it up or turn it down as it is needed. But right now what is happening, most of the time we are listening in an amplified manner. Whatever is coming, we are just amplifying by our own perception, by our overthinking or our own khichdi that we already have in our mind. So rather than we need to put a justification what need to be amplified and what not, what need to be reduced. And he has the author has given a very nice like metaphor also with the example of a music concert or a person, a musician, how actually mix happens and how he he or she can do it intensely. In our life also we can do very nice. If anyone wants to share their perspective paragraph.
Yeah, in fact, I have.
Ramesh,
But I want to know one thing, that
yeah.
how can one increase the voice of God in one's life? Because see, what this
Yeah,
implies
very
is that we are having so many voices, and there are so many people in our lives whose voices we can adjust as per our needs. And it also says that the voice of God should make it as high as possible in our lives. But how do we do that? Because when we are in a situation and we feel condemned or we feel hurt, that time this the thought doesn't comes to us that God loves us the way we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very
So
nice question.
how can
Yeah, very nice and very practical question you asked. So I'll tell you my example how I do it. Maybe that will be helpful. So one way to do it is to ensure that the morning when we wake up, dedicatedly we engage ourselves in spiritual discourse, that is the purport that is given by God, whether it is from Bhagavad Gita or you attend any satsang or you attend any discourse. And what I ensure is not only I attend 1 hour of live discourse every day without fail in Google Meet, and then I make a note out of the main 5 points, and those 5 points I churn throughout the day for 5 times. So what happens actually, the voice or the advice that God has given me takes the precedence over any other thing. So when I'm churning, when I'm reflecting on that 5 times a day, and the main on the top 5 points which are very much practically applicable to me, that particular thought becomes takes the precedence, and the thought is moreover or predominantly filled with that. Otherwise, what happens in any particular day, if I engage myself little less or miss this activity fully or partially, I see that the other voices are becoming prominent easily and effortlessly. And what is happening, I am unable to remember what is the right step or right thing for me at that particular time. So this is a wonderful way. The more we give priority to which version, that will automatically amplify. It is all in our thought level. So in our thought, actually, that will be repeated, which we give more priority.
Yeah,
So
that's
this is
true.
one thing which
Because you
I
are a
do,
very
and
spiritual person.
yeah,
You definitely are more spiritual than most people. What if a person is not spending that time for that 1 hour of discourse? Suppose like me, I don't spend that time, but I go through life with a lot of things, or somebody else, and you feel motivated, you feel hurt, you feel when there's a low point, especially how to bring about the thought of that you're a divine child of the divine universe, and everything is like God is really there for you, or whatever. What should be your predominant, what should be your thought which can help you
yeah,
out in that
right.
minute?
Right. So I would suggest I where I see from most of us should, in whatever proportion we can involve ourselves in spirituality. That is the best thing. Second best
Yes,
thing, if someone is not that much aligned with spirituality, they can always find a community of highly elevated people, means like people who are thinking positively and contributing in such a way or interacting with such a way that they are very high, having high vibration naturally. So automatically with those kind of interactions or those kind of what do you say, the automatic exchange of energy happens when we are in
absolutely.
those kind of association. So association matters a lot. So if
Absolutely.
someone is really, so this is something which also helps a lot. And I am fortunately involved in both of them. We have a member here, Rameshji, who is also being part of both. Right, Rameshji, you can share your experience, how you are doing in both the space.
Both spaces meaning which spaces?
Like spiritually also, I think you are doing you are part of ISKCON, right? And you are also part
Yeah,
of the
Brahma
inner circle
Kumaris.
that we are, and you
Yeah,
are
yeah.
contributing the affirmations in a very highly elevated way without fail, and how it is helping you to have your thoughts channelized properly, appropriately, and in tough times are you able to deal the situations easily? Is it helping? You can share.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have in my personal search, personal growth seeking, I have come across the right book at the right time. I think maybe that's how it all started off when I read the autobiography of a yogi, a Paramahansa
Yes.
Yogananda, in
Yeah.
1992.
Yeah.
So I think what I've observed is I didn't know this at that point in time, but I had a very strong desire to become a better person. When I had some, normally this desire starts when somebody has some challenge in their life. because happiness doesn't teach anybody any lessons. We only enjoy it. So the challenge was when I used to do very well in my studies, and suddenly, because I was shifted to India, I had second language and all that. I used to live in Zambia before, so that's Southern Africa. So that is when I had a challenge, and boarding school was a big challenge for me because I was a very gentle child. So when I this happened, I was seeking this personal mind control. That is what I wanted actually. I wanted to make my mind strong, like how I was when I was younger, when I used to come
Mhm.
first in class. So that seeking led me to by to some strange person who recommended me after Vaikuntha Ekadashi. He recommended to me in a temple stall that you should read this book. And so, in a strange, you see, in this seemingly disconnected way, by some unknown person, I came across the right book or the right teacher, guru, and those kind of things at different times in my life. But the first
Yes.
step is we have to have that strong yearning, and we should keep reaffirming and strengthening that yearning that I want to grow personally, spiritually. I want to I wish to get the answers. I'm ready right now, and I will. No matter what, I will
So on a
find.
day to base, yeah, very nice. So coming to the current present moment, on a day to day basis, what specially you are doing, that is what actually like is the main thing which
Yeah.
we are
So
interested.
in
So
this
and how it is helping.
Yeah. So in this group, what I do is, of course, I've through my personal growth seeking, I have been through ISKCON and even Brahma Kumari's transcendental meditation. They've all helped me. I don't find actually any clash essentially between any of these systems. There's the approaches and the techniques used are slightly at a variation, but on a day-to-day basis, I find, for example, if I make affirmations in such a way that I state what I wish to have rather than saying that I don't want to be in a position of pain. I rather say I am in a position of joy or happiness or in abundance in all areas, including financial. And then I've used techniques like in the group when we associate with people like Bikashji and others who are also seekers. When you state an affirmation and when they read it and bless it, I definitely find that it helps. That's one thing. The other thing is, if you there we have techniques like emotional freedom technique, where, for example, right now I'm going through a challenge where I'm building a house, and behind my house there is a site where they're doing some slightly illegal. They have occupied extra land, and nobody's stopping them, and that kind of a thing. Bikata. Ours is an ekata, so we have all the permissions. So this troubling emotional experience. What I do is I use the
Yes.
emotional freedom technique (EFT), and I tone it down. Like I say that even though I'm experiencing so much of distress because of this situation, I truly and deeply love and respect myself. And then through the EFT technique, I also start thing saying that I'm now ready to heal, and I am healing, and I am healed in this area. And when for example, if I start a second cycle of that EFT, which takes a very long, I mean, very less time actually, hardly 5 minutes. I'm
Yeah.
finding that these negative emotions, what was on a scale of 1 to 10, if it was 8 before, it now comes down to
Yes.
4 to 3, and
Reduce. Yeah.
big. And I'm seeing magically on the ground reality, there are perceptions changing where the situation changes, or the person becomes nicer or more receptive. Things like that happen. Or I get support from somewhere.
Yeah,
That's what
because
I'm.
your own vibrations have increased, or you're vibrating at a better energy level, so it automatically reflects all around you.
Yes, that is definitely one of the strong points. Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is what is now giving me, like earlier I did not, I used to be in despair and I didn't have so much of faith. But now the faith, even then it's being tested, mind you. I mean, just like how I think one of our who was it now? It was Jayati ji just now asked that question. I still was going to ask Bikash the question just to kind of strengthen my resolve. How do I distinguish between that divine godly voice inside and my mind? Because sometimes my mind will say one thing, but the other divine voice will say, and how do I know which is the divine voice? Sometimes even now I have questions, but I know that if I the more I associate with the right people, the more I do the EFT and I strengthen my resolve, the clearer it becomes which about what action I should take. That's how I go about it.
Yes.
Thank you,
So very,
Ramesh.
very
That's very
important and very
beautiful.
beautifully explained. That is definitely thank you, Ramesh, for that. And also coming to the question that you asked, that is also very relevant and very tricky question, in fact. So
Yes,
one
even
thing,
I have also suffered from it also, Vikash. But that's a totally different story. That's a long story. I don't want to get into it at all. And this is a very nice reading session. I don't want to interrupt it with it. Yeah, Vikash, you want to answer it?
yeah, to some extent, what I
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
that I can say, even though it is a really tricky one, and it actually changes our perception and our way of thought process changes as and when, or the more we engage ourselves in the right thoughts, right information that is directly given by God or the spiritual knowledge, automatically God's voice becomes prominent in our thought level.
Ah,
So the more and more we are engaged in that, automatically our thoughts and decision making power and the way we make our decision changes. So it is again boiling down to the same thing, that what we intake. If we have like the same story again, we have discussed many times, that we have two wolves. One is a good wolf and a bad wolf
yeah.
inside us, and whom we are feeding, the more is going to be more powerful, and that wolf is going to take the decision. So if I am feeding myself, feeding the wolf with the spiritual knowledge, then automatically that good wolf is going to be prominent and that will be heard automatically. That is one way. Second way, what I try to do, many times I could successfully do and many times I, to be very truthful, I cannot do, is like to understand or see things from the perspective of a soul. Like I if I see from the perspective of a body, then some selfish motive is definitely there. If I see from the perspective of a soul, I am a soul, I am beyond the body, I am the controller of the body, and for the benefit of the soul, what is the right thing at this particular moment, let me decide that. And moreover, if you can do that, then definitely you will get the best person, and that is the God's person also, because God is nothing no other than a super soul. And when we are in soul conscious, we can connect God the most efficient manner, and his version descend to us effortlessly. So the key here is to keep ourselves in soul conscious most of the time, and from that foundation, the foundation of soul conscious state we are in, we take the decision. Often that can be also achieved in the meditative state. When we take the decision, that comes out to be the best decision as per the God's kind of advice. Yes, I feel are very helpful. I hope it is to some extent helpful. Ramesh and Jyoti.
Yes,
It's
Ji.
always helpful, Vikash, to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I echo that. Yes, because she has a high vibration, and even for me, sometimes just speaking to him itself will unlock the situation, unblock situation. It goes forward.
Thank you, Ramesh, for the so good precision. But I must say that you are also in the same category. Actually, each of us has that sign in us. It is just that some dust is there, and we are in the process. We all are in the process of removing the dust and let our real diamond shine. So let's keep doing that. And life is always there to test our journey, and we are also becoming sharper and stronger with each of those tests when we are facing it. And definitely we will win. There is no question about it, right?
Thank you, Prakash ji. आपके
Great.
मुंह में God bless your words.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great sharings by you all. Thank you, Vikash ji. Thank you, Ramesh ji.
So
Thank you all.
now that, thank you, Sumanji. You are
Shall I
also a
continue for
great
one more
soul.
paragraph?
So yeah, sure.
Let the people
This
finish.
paragraph. Yeah, we can actually continue one more paragraph, even though
Okay.
actually we are actually beyond the time. what we have decided is like kind of we will have smaller, shorter sessions so that it is easier for each of us to continue because consistency matters. One day having a longer session, but rather than stopping it or taking a gap of 2-3 days again, we are thinking like that. But if you are feeling like reading one more paragraph, please go ahead. We are here.
Okay. What God says about your identity. God has a lot to say
Yeah, go ahead,
about your
Jyoti.
identity. And nothing has affected my leadership more than listening to what God has to say about my identity. When we survey the history of God's people, there are many moments when He speaks into the person's identity for the purpose of equipping them with more influence. Remember the burning bush? How could you forget it? God uses a lighter, fluid soaked bush to grab Moses' attention. Thus, the angel of Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that through the bush, though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. Okay, I have this is a reference in
Okay, great.
the
So,
Bible.
yeah, Bible, I think, yeah. So, no problem. Again, we will start from this particular because it's a logical end till here, and tomorrow we will start from here so that we can continue till the end of this particular section. So thank you all again. Definitely, you all are joining, and we will continue from here. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Vikas.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much for all the
You all
sharing.
a Ekadashi.
Happy Ekadasi to
Thank
all.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sumanji. Thank you, Jati. Thank you, Ramesh ji. Bye.